Hello, I'm Gordon Lang, editor of DSLRtips.com. The colours of the sky at sunrise or sunset can look absolutely spectacular to our eyes, but they can prove surprisingly tricky to capture with our cameras. The results are often washed out or faded, and those colours just don't look as vibrant as we remember them. Luckily, this is something that is very easy to fix, and in this workshop I'll show you what you need to do. This sunset photo was taken with the camera's automatic settings, and the result is a washed out image which bears little resemblance to the view we saw in person. The problem is most cameras, when set to automatic, will overexpose this kind of shot, which leads to the faded washed out effect. The solution is very simple. By deliberately underexposing your picture, those colours will look much more vibrant, and any objects in the foreground will be rendered into attractive dark silhouettes. To deliberately underexpose your picture, you'll need to use your camera's exposure compensation settings. Here's how they work in practice. Most digital SLRs show the exposure compensation as a scale on the back of the screen. This scale is also normally visible on most models when you look through the optical viewfinder. If your digital SLR has a screen on the top of the body, the scale will also normally be shown there. If you can't see the scale at all, it's probably because your camera is one of those models that hides it when it's in fully automatic mode. That's the case with this Canon product, so what we've done here is turned the command dial from the green rectangle to the P mode. That stands for program. It's still fully automatic, but it just allows you to make more adjustments. Now when you're ready to actually adjust the exposure compensation, you're looking for a button with a plus/minus symbol on it. On some cameras you'll need to press and hold this button in. On others, you'll just need to press it once. Then to actually make the adjustment, you should turn a dial. This will normally either be at the front of the camera or at the back. So here's how it works in practice on this particular camera. You press and hold this button in and then turn the dial to move the scale either to the right or to the left. Then when you're ready, just let go of the button and take the picture. The exposure compensation scale normally runs between -2 and +2, with 0 in the middle representing a normal exposure. If you set the scale to -1, the camera will halve the exposure and therefore make the picture twice as dark. If you set it to -2, it will quarter the exposure and make it 4 times darker than normal. Most cameras allow you to make fine adjustments in steps of either 1/2 or 1/3, and the trick is to simply experiment until you get the result you're looking for. So here's that sunset photo again, taken with the camera's automatic settings, where an overexposure has meant the colours look all washed out. Now here's a photo taken just moments later with exposure compensation of -1 EV, and now the colours look much more vibrant and the hills in the background have been rendered into attractive silhouettes. Now it's important to note that sunsets can change colour quite quickly, and this one certainly did improve between the shots, but by applying the exposure compensation we've ensured that the colours haven't become washed out. An exposure compensation setting of -1 EV worked well for this particular example, but when you're taking a picture of a sunrise or sunset, you may find that you require a bit more or maybe even a bit less. The key with this sort of thing is simply to experiment with the settings until you get the result that you're looking for. If you'd like to take a picture of a person in front of a sunrise or sunset, then keep that negative compensation to make sure the colours of the sky are nice and vibrant, but simply pop up the flash to illuminate the person in the foreground. One really important thing to remember though is with the compensation setting put in a negative direction, all of your pictures from this point onwards will be underexposed. So once you've taken your sunset or sunrise shot, simply set that exposure compensation back to 0. This will ensure that all the pictures you take from this point onwards will have a normal exposure. Deliberately underexposing sunrises and sunsets is the key behind avoiding washed out and faded images, and it really is as simple as just turning that dial. For a step-by-step guide that accompanies this video, along with many more techniques, head on over to www.dslrtips.com.